And I just want to share with you some of what is happening as a result of our advanced energy standard and portfolio. We are seeing today great investments being made in wind energy. 6 sites have already been permitted in Ohio for wind farms. 6 sites have been permitted, and 1 additional site is pending. Those 6 sites would involve the installation, I believe, of about 475 wind turbines in Ohio. The construction jobs are estimated to be well over 1,000. The permanent jobs are estimated to be over 90 permanent jobs. And that's what's happening right now. Now let me tell you, when I became governor, there were 4 wind turbines in Ohio. And we now are seeing investments made which will lead to more than 500 turbines being erected. And this is just the beginning, just the beginning. Congressman Kasich frequently talks about the need for businesses to have predictability. And what he is doing is interjecting uncertainty into something that we have all worked together to accomplish in a bipartisan way, as a matter of fact. Our energy legislation passed nearly unanimously. Now he wants to call it into question and imply that he may turn back the clock. I think that is harmful to our efforts to encourage advanced technologies and renewable energy development in Ohio. I think it's unwise. I think it's irresponsible and reckless for him to talk about something so important and be so ill-informed while he's talking about it. Having said that, I will stop talking and give you an opportunity to ask me questions. I have some experts with me in case you ask me a question and I have to seek more detailed information from those who may have a deeper knowledge. Yes, sir.
I'm wondering of what you're seeing from solar, wind, any of these technologies, to what degree they're sustainable without various subsidies, either special tax treatment or the mandate.
Well, I think the mandate is something that we've chosen to do as a state because we do believe that this is a growing sector of our economy that will create jobs, that will benefit our people, that will be good for the environment. It will make us less dependent on foreign sources for oil. For example, when I became governor, we had not a single ethanol plant in Ohio, not a single ethanol plant. We now have 5 ethanol plants producing about 400 million gallons of fuel per year. It makes us less dependent on imported sources for energy needs for our fuel, less dependent on the Middle East. And so we believe that this is a developing set of industries, obviously. But I think if you were to calculate the full cost of imported oil, you were to calculate the full cost of imported oil, you would recognize that we provide perhaps what I would refer to as hidden subsidies for those sources of energy. There's a reason why we have thousands of our troops deployed in the Middle East. And one of the major reasons for that, obviously, is we depend upon that region for oil. That's usually not calculated into the cost of the barrel of oil, but I think it's a very real cost. And so I think what we're encouraging in terms of these new energy resources are certainly comparable to the price we pay for imported energy, and in my judgment, less costly, certainly in terms of human life.
How many?
Yes.
I was going to say the traditional fossil fuels are subsidized at a rate of 4 to 1 over renewables. So to think that the entire energy industry is not highly subsidized is just not accurate. People like to point that out about renewables, but the research on tax breaks for oil companies and the like is affordable.
Does anyone else want to, please feel free to speak up.
One other thing I've noticed in the renewable energy industry is that since we testified during the, when they were considering Senate Bill 221, and I heard a lot of companies say that they didn't take Ohio seriously if they didn't pass the RPS. And they said, if you pass the RPS, we will, look more seriously at Ohio being part of the supply chain. And I've actually encountered several companies that are considering locating facilities in Ohio as a result of the RPS being passed in 2008.
And let me point out, when we passed the Senate bill, we did so with the strong support of the Manufacturing Association, the agricultural community. I mean, what we're seeing in the deployment of wind in Ohio is rural development. There will be farms that will continue to exist as farms because the owners of those farms will be getting continuous income as a result of making a portion of their land available for wind turbines. So over a period of many months, certainly over a period of a year, developing the kind of coalition that led to the standard that we now have in place. And to have a congressman talk so casually as he did and has been talking about the possibility of rethinking this, it shows, I think, that he is ill-informed and that he hasn't paid the price to even understand all the effort and the thinking and the work that went in to creating something that is hugely beneficial to our state. And I think that is, quite frankly, reflective of his approach to other issues as well. I think he tends to make reckless statements and reckless claims. And I don't know that those are particularly good characteristics to have for someone who's the governor of a state with 11.4 million people.
Governor, he hedged it in the editorial meeting, though. He said if it drives up costs to consumers, going to drive up utility bills because we don't have it ready, and we have to go buy it somewhere else at a very high price. I don't like that. You can't make a mention.
Yes, and I want to be fair to him. He said that he would consider it, and he apparently was unaware that there is a cap on price increases. So he's talking about something that is hugely important, something that we and others, people like these gentlemen standing here with me, and all these groups have spent months studying, researching, developing consensus, actually getting passed into law. And this is my point. He wants to be the governor of Ohio, and he takes an issue of this importance, and he talks about it, in a casual way, obviously being uninformed to the point where he doesn't know exactly what he's talking about. If he had known about the cap, maybe he wouldn't have made the statement the way he said it. But the fact that he is implying, not only before the Daily News editorial board, but when he announced his Common Sense initiative, what he said about the deployment of the turbines in Lake Erie. Apparently hugely unaware that ODNR has spent months studying the lake, identifying appropriate places for the deployment of wind, studying migratory patterns, shipping routes, and all of those kinds of things. You would hope that someone who hopes to be the governor within 3 or 4 months, before he would talk about something as important to the state as this particular issue, would be informed. And I think his comments indicate that he is not informed, and yet he is willing to take positions and make statements that could be very harmful to the future of these emerging industries.
Governor, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Just to say, I think one of the things he's suggesting is that the 25% standard in SB 221 is not feasible, that utilities won't be able to reach that by 2025, and as a result, their costs will go up trying to satisfy that, and utility prices will go up as well.
What's he basing that on? What's he basing that on?
Do you think those standards are feasible that you?
Well, I do, and, you know, I have information that I'm not privy to share with you right now, but in a few days, you will learn one of the reasons that I think that is possible. Because we are going to see major investments made in Ohio in these renewable areas. And we didn't just pull this stuff out of the thin air. This took study and contemplation and research, collaboration, and as a result, we passed something that I think all Ohioans can feel good about and can be proud of. It positions Ohio as a progressive state. It's going to move us forward. Other states are looking at us, and I think they'd like to be where we are. I think there's reason to believe that we may have had more jobs created in the renewable and advanced energy sectors of our economy last year, perhaps than any other state in America. It's happening in Ohio, and it should happen because Ohio is a state where obviously the largest percentage of our electricity comes from fossil fuels, from coal. And for us, a state like that, if we passed this renewable standard and we were a state like, I don't know, Montana, it wouldn't have been a big deal. We are a huge energy using state. We are, at current usage, a heavily coal-producing state and a coal utilization state. And for us, as a state, to come together and say, we think this is so important, these new industries are so important to our future economy and economic growth and job creation, that we're going to commit ourselves to this. And it passed overwhelmingly in a bipartisan way. It troubles me that the congressman now would come by and start questioning it without laying out at least some factual data as to why he would question it, as he seems to be doing.